So if you are in in front of your computer, on your chair, feet flat on the floor, and just be in contact with your toe pads and the soles of the feet, and just be sitting right on top of your sits bones, shoulders aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Take a nice deep breath. And just know that whatever has been going on for you today, it's perfectly fine. However it is you're turning up this evening, it's perfectly fine. So just bring your awareness now to the crown of the head and release the scalp and the forehead, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, back of the head. Allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And then bring the mind to the breath and just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then if there are any sounds in your environment, just allow them to be there. Try not to follow them with the mind. And then just notice the thoughts that are arising in the mind. My first thought is, well done, all of you, for turning up on 4th of July weekend. So that's also a really impressive commitment to your practice. So rejoice. And then just check what's going on in your mind this evening. And is it the same kind of thoughts and feelings and bits and pieces as was there yesterday? And if you can recognize that it's not the same, you might be able to recognize that perhaps it's also not the same as the day before or the day before that. So from that, you can conclude perhaps nothing is fixed. Things actually do change. This is the nature of impermanence. And thank goodness for impermanence. Because impermanence enables us to rejuvenate when we've been sick. During COVID, it allowed many parts of nature to recover because there was not people out there in the ocean, on the roads. Everything went sort of quiet for a while. So just notice what's arising in the mind. And then just can categorize those thoughts so you can have a bubble for these are planning thoughts. I'm ruminating about something. I'm going over the day. I have a memory right now. Oh, I have some anxiety coming up. So all these thoughts you can perhaps put on a little white fluffy cloud and just send it on its way. Or maybe a little lotus, or maybe both. And then And put ourselves on the bank of our river and notice the quality of the water in that river. And also remember that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. Then we can bring to mind the people of our life. So our loved ones, these are people we have deep and profound relationships with. And then we have those people in our life who are, we're not so fond of. And then we have the strangers. And they all change place. They can all change place at any time. And possibly you've had folks in your life, these kinds of relationships have shifted and changed. Maybe back again. And despite the relationships that we have with people, they're actually, and they'll feel different in your mind, but they're all the same in their wish to be happy. They wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension for all sentient beings. So just bearing in mind, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. And also before I started, something Kadrila mentioned on the weekend about how the ways in which we disable ourselves from receiving certain kinds of energy. So, for example, for the empowerment, the first part of the empowerment was about purification, to purify certain things so that we could actually be open enough so that we don't block the energy of the empowerment with certain kinds of delusion or negativity. So we're very fortunate to have this practice because actually, if you think about it, it probably applies to being able to receive anything: love, money, work, good vibes, people helping us when we need help. If we're completely blocked and negative, we're not going to be open to be able to receive. So this also comes in terms of negative self-talk. So I think for all of us in the West, it's one that we probably could try to become aware of and then counteract as best we can. So we'll start. There is no negativity that cannot be purified. So if you're feeling like you've done something really awful or you're feeling bad about something, we can deal with it. Because we create all this negativity with our mind, so equally we can create positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want it. So logically, it makes sense to remove these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I am sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we are relying upon the Buddha to forgive us. We're more relying upon his methods to heal us. This is really what we're doing. So here we have the image of the Vajrasattva. So you can just imagine something as best you can, like this image above the crown of your head. You don't have to do exactly as is in this tanka. So you just kind of get the idea. And you imagine this is a light body above the crown of your head. You can also imagine maybe this is the mind of your teacher, if you have one, manifesting in this particular Vajrasattva form for your benefit. He's made of, again, radiant light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a beautiful radiant face and full of love and compassion for you. And he's wearing, he has this left hand is underneath the right, the left holding a bell, and the right is holding a vajra. The vajra represents the indestructibility of your compassion, and the bell represents wisdom. And the two of these together, crossed like that at a heart, represents enlightenment itself. And that's infinite wisdom, infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood, so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, and the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently, in the past, and then maybe in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think maybe of someone who's harmed you, and can have compassion for them because they will suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. The power of the remedy, this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. So we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dita Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsasawa kama sita me, sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, and vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsasawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Tita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with this body. So next is a purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all your negative speech, gossip, harsh speech, useless speech, and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all this inappropriate speech, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe, Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajrasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others with your speech, including yourself. And next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a room and you switch on a light, that instantly dispels the darkness. So same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all the attachment and neediness and anger and violence, depression, bitterness and resentment and jealousy are all instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dina patita Tira meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa Sawasedi mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Tita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So just be delighted again. All your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine Vajrasattva very happily sending light and nectar. It fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajabawa, Mahasamaya satva ahom pe, Ambajasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajabawa, Mahasamaya satva ahom pe, Ambajasapa samaya manupalaya, Vajasapa dina patita, Dida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajabawa, Mahasamaya satva ahom pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment are removed. So now we have the power of resolve and the fourth step in the purification process, and a really crucial one. So whatever it is you've been working on, rejoice in your efforts and think of something to work on between now and tomorrow. And we just have to decide, this is what I'm going to do. And then when you make that decision, it will happen. Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you can think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. And so Rinpoche would start with, in emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. And we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that perhaps the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all this virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So we just think of those of us who have teachers, think of the name of your teacher, keep it in your mind, and make strong prayers for them to have an extremely long life. So probably everybody knows His Holiness. And then also make strong wish in your heart, aspiration for the unmistaken reincarnation of Lama Zopa Rinpoche to return quickly and be found. And as Kadrila was saying yesterday, to take up the work where Lama Zopa Rinpoche left off. And I felt, well, my goodness, such a lot for that person to do when they come back. Anyway, so we make that wish. And I just noticed, Michael, you're being very patriotic this evening. All right, everyone. Can you take that Vajrasattva image off? Because I want to see everybody and say goodbye. Thank you. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Good night, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye, everyone.